The Awakening of Earth. Commander Zara of the Galactic Exploration Fleet had seen countless worlds, but Earth was different. As her crystalline ship emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, the readings made no sense. According to their intelligence, humans were barely venturing beyond their moon, a primitive species taking their first steps into space. Yet the energy signatures surrounding their planet told a vastly different story. "Captain, I'm detecting quantum fluctuations throughout the system," her science officer, Kex, reported, his bioluminescent patterns flashing with confusion. "They're deliberately masked. If I hadn't been looking for gravitational anomalies, we would have missed them completely." Zara's primary sensory tendrils coiled tightly. "Elaborate." "The humans aren't just dabbling in space travel. They're manipulating the fabric of reality itself. These readings suggest technology thousands of years beyond what any species should possess at this stage of development." Before Zara could respond, a transmission cut through their most sophisticated encryption protocols as if they didn't exist. The voice that filled their bridge was calm, almost amused. "Galactic Exploration Vessel Starweaver, welcome to Sol System. Please maintain your current position. A representative will join you shortly." The bridge crew froze. No one had transmitted their vessel's designation. More importantly, no emerging civilization should have been able to detect them at all, let alone penetrate their stealth systems. A small object appeared beside their ship, seeming to step out of a fold in space itself. It was elegant but simple, a sphere of what appeared to be ordinary metal, though their sensors couldn't quite focus on its surface. A docking tube extended, ignoring the laws of physics that should have made such a connection impossible in the vacuum of space. Their visitor arrived moments later. She looked human, wearing what appeared to be simple civilian clothing rather than any kind of spacesuit. "I'm Dr. Elena Santos," she said, stepping onto their bridge as if walking through a park. "Earth's Director of First Contact Relations." Zara's secondary brain struggled to process what she was seeing. "How are you breathing? How did you dock with us without?" "The answers to those questions are quite fascinating," Elena interrupted gently, "but they're not why we revealed ourselves today. We've been watching your civilization, Commander. All of them, actually, for a very long time." The human raised her hand, and the space around them shifted. Suddenly, they were looking at a three-dimensional map of the galaxy, with countless points of light representing various civilizations. "Humanity isn't taking its first steps into the galactic community," Elena explained. "We're its oldest living members. We've been guiding younger species for millions of years, helping them avoid the mistakes we made in our own development." "Impossible," Kex whispered. "Our archaeological records are exactly what we wanted you to find," Elena finished. "We learned long ago that giving advanced technology to emerging civilizations usually leads to disaster. They need to develop the wisdom to use it responsibly. So we watch, we guide subtly, and we wait." "But why reveal yourselves now?" Zara asked. Elena's expression grew serious. "Because something is coming. Something ancient that we've been holding at bay since before your ancestors developed written language. We need allies who understand not just how to use advanced technology, but why they shouldn't. And your civilization, Commander Zara, has finally reached that point." Around them, the holographic display shifted to show something vast and dark moving between the galaxies. "The time for hiding is over," Elena said softly. "Now we need to prepare you for what comes next." Legacy of the Silent Guardians. The crystalline halls of Luna Base 1 defied everything Commander Zara thought she knew about human technology. What appeared to be simple glass corridors shifted and flowed like liquid light, each step taking them impossibly far through the massive complex hidden beneath the moon's surface. Dr. Elena Santos led their delegation past rooms where humans worked with technology that shouldn't exist. In one chamber, scientists manipulated what looked like pure consciousness in crystalline matrices. In another, researchers casually stepped through portals to distant worlds, as if walking through doorways. "Our public bases use conventional technology," Elena explained, noting their bewilderment. This facility is one of our actual research centers. We maintain thousands like it throughout the galaxy, though most are considerably more extensive. Kex, Zora's science officer, stopped abruptly as they passed a window overlooking an impossible space, a vast sphere that seemed to contain an entire galaxy in miniature. How can you keep this hidden? The energy requirements alone would be detectable if we were using energy as you understand it. Elena finished. We transcended those limitations millions of years ago. What you're seeing isn't technology in the conventional sense. It's the manipulation of reality's underlying architecture. The delegation from 3 different young species followed in stunned silence as Elena led them into what appeared to be a simple meeting room. The walls shimmered and became transparent, revealing they were somehow simultaneously on the moon and in orbit around a dozen different worlds. Every civilization reaches a crossroads, Elena continued, gesturing to the multiple views of different worlds, a point where their technology outpaces their wisdom. We reached ours 12 million years ago, and the consequences. She paused, her expression darkening. Let's just say we learned the hard way that power without understanding leads to catastrophe. Images began playing across the transparent walls, scenes from history that made the delegates' various sensory organs pulse with shock. They watched as humans, disguised or working through proxies, subtly guided their civilizations away from disaster time and time again. That's impossible. First speaker Ven of the collective whispered, his crystalline form vibrating with disbelief. The great insight that prevented our resource wars, that was you. We provided the opportunity. Elena corrected. Your people made the choice. That's why we work this way. True growth must come from within. Commander Zara's primary brain throbbed as implications cascaded through her consciousness. All this time, we thought we were discovering our own path to the stars. You were, Elena assured her. We simply helped you avoid the paths that led to extinction. Every achievement of your people is genuinely yours. We just removed some of the more catastrophic options. Before anyone could respond, a subtle vibration passed through the facility. Elena's posture changed instantly, her casual demeanor replaced by something ancient and alert. The walls shifted again, showing a dark mass moving at the edge of known space. And that, Elena said grimly, is why we're revealing ourselves now. What you're seeing is what we call a void tide, a phenomenon we first encountered millions of years ago. It doesn't just destroy worlds, it erases them from existence itself. We've been holding them back, but they're growing stronger. And after 12 million years, we're finally running out of time. The room transformed into a command center, displays showing thousands of hidden human installations activating across the galaxy. This is why we've spent millions of years preparing younger species, Elena continued. We need allies who understand not just how to use advanced technology, but why some powers should remain unused. Because what's coming can't be fought with weapons alone. It requires wisdom we spent millions of years learning the hard way. The delegates watched in awe as humanity's hidden infrastructure revealed itself across the galaxy. After millions of years of subtle guidance, the elder species was finally stepping into the light. Not by choice, but by desperate necessity. Welcome, Elena said softly, to the true history of the galaxy. Now let's discuss how we're going to save it. The price of power. The demonstration chamber in Luna Base 1 fell silent as Elena activated what appeared to be a simple crystal sphere. Within its depths, images began to form, scenes from Earth's distant past that made the alien delegates recoil in horror. 12 million years ago, Elena began, her voice heavy with ancient regret. Humanity discovered what we thought was ultimate power. We learned to manipulate the fundamental forces of reality itself. We became as gods, and like gods, we were blind to our own hubris. The sphere showed vast cities that defied physics, human beings who had transcended their physical forms, and achievements that bordered on magical. But then came the darkness. Tears in reality itself, caused by humanity's reckless manipulation of forces they didn't fully understand. We didn't just risk destroying ourselves, Alina continued. Our experiments began to damage the fabric of space-time itself. That's when we first encountered the void tides. Our arrogance had awakened something that had slept since the beginning of time. Commander Zara watched as the images showed the first void tide, a wave of absolute nothingness that didn't just destroy, but unmade everything it touched. Your people stopped it. Barely, Alina replied. The cost was devastating. We had to sacrifice nearly half of our population and most of our highest technologies to seal the breach. That's when we made our choice, to step back, to hide our true nature, and to ensure no other species repeated our mistakes. First Speaker Ven's crystalline form pulsed with sudden understanding. The ancient barriers, the regions of space that no ship can penetrate, containment zones, Alina confirmed, places where reality is still healing from that first war. But now, she gestured, and new images appeared, current readings from across the galaxy showing dozens of void tides beginning to form. The barriers are failing, Kex whispered, his bioluminescence dimming with fear. Worse, Alina corrected. Something is deliberately breaking them down. We thought the void tides were just a natural phenomenon, a consequence of our mistakes. We were wrong. There's intelligence behind them, ancient and patient, and it's been testing our defenses for millions of years. The chamber shifted again, revealing a vast underground complex filled with technologies that seemed to ignore physics entirely. Humans worked alongside machines that seemed to be made of pure thought, monitoring displays that showed the very structure of reality itself. This is why we've been preparing you, Alina explained. Not just to fight, but to understand. The enemy we face doesn't just want to destroy. It wants to unmake everything, to return the universe to the void from which it emerged. And to fight it, we need allies who understand the full weight of wielding such power. Zara's secondary brain pulsed with sudden insight. That's why you hid your true nature. You weren't just protecting us from ourselves. We were protecting you from becoming like us, Alina finished, from carrying the burden we've borne for millions of years. But now we have no choice. The enemy is awakening. And this time, humanity can't face it alone. In the depths of space, more void tides were forming. The time for secrecy was over. The real question was whether the younger races were truly ready for the responsibility humanity had spent millions of years preparing them to bear. The fate of existence itself would depend on the answer. Guardians united. Deep within Luna Base 1, humanity's hidden technology came alive with urgent purpose. Displays showed void tides forming at an accelerating rate, threatening dozens of inhabited systems. But for the first time in millions of years, humanity wasn't facing this threat alone. We've detected 17 incursions in the Orion Arm alone, Alina reported, her hands dancing through holographic displays. The enemy is no longer being subtle. They know we've revealed ourselves. Commander Zora watched as her own people's ships joined with hidden human vessels throughout the galaxy. The sight was breathtaking. Elegant crystalline ships merging seamlessly with human vessels that seemed to be made of light itself. The Lightweaver ships, Alina explained, noting their amazement. Our most advanced vessels, created specifically to combat the void tides. But they're not weapons in the conventional sense. They're tools of creation, designed to reinforce the fabric of reality itself. First Speaker Ven's crystalline form resonated with sudden understanding. That's why you needed us, not for our technology, but for your perspective, Alina finished. Each species sees reality differently. Together, we can perceive and protect what none of us could save alone. The demonstration chamber transformed into a vast command center. Representatives from dozens of young species worked alongside humans, their combined knowledge creating new strategies, new defenses against the darkness. Look, Kex called out, his bioluminescence pulsing with excitement. The void tide near the Carina Nexus. It's retreating. Elena nodded, but her expression remained grave. A small victory, but the enemy is learning. Every time we seal a breach, they try something new. They're testing us, analyzing our responses. A new alert flashed across the displays. Something massive was emerging from the space between galaxies. Not a void tide, but something worse, a vast consciousness of pure entropy, ancient beyond measure. The Unmacher, Elena whispered. We've caught glimpses of it before, but never so clearly. This is what's been coordinating the void tides, pushing against reality itself for billions of years. The gathered species watched in horror as the entity began to take form, a being of such vast scale that it dwarfed entire star clusters. But instead of fear, Elena smiled. Look, she said softly, pointing to the displays. All across the galaxy, ships from every species were moving to predetermined positions. A plan millions of years in the making was finally unfolding. This is why we guided you, Elena explained. Why we helped each of your species develop in your own unique ways. Apart, we're vulnerable. But together, she gestured, and the displays showed something extraordinary. The combined fleets were creating patterns of light and energy that somehow strengthened the very fabric of space-time. Together, Commander Zura finished, understanding at last, we become something entirely new. The Unmaker's vast form pressed against reality, trying to unmake everything in its path. But for the first time since the universe began, it faced unified resistance. Humanity's ancient knowledge, combined with the unique perspectives and abilities of dozens of younger species, created a defense that even entropy itself couldn't easily breach. The true war for existence was about to begin. But after millions of years of preparation, the galaxy's species would face it as one. The Great Convergence. The battle unfolded across dimensions humanity's younger allies hadn't known existed. The combined fleet, now called the Unity Defense, faced the Unmaker in ways that transcended conventional warfare. Each species contributed something unique to the defense of reality itself. Commander Zara's crystalline ships projected lattices of pure order, reinforcing the structure of spacetime. The bioluminescent Kex's people channeled living light into the gaps between stars, illuminating paths the void tides couldn't cross. First Speaker Ven's collective consciousness joined with others to create barriers of pure thought. The Unmaker is changing tactics, Elena announced from the command center. The displays showed the ancient entity splitting into countless smaller forms, each targeting a different sector of space. It's trying to overwhelm our coordinated defense. But humanity had planned for this. Across the galaxy, hidden installations activated, structures built millions of years ago for this very moment. They weren't weapons, but anchors, focal points where reality itself could be strengthened. Now we show you why we needed all of you, Elena said, her voice carrying to every ship, every station, every world. Each species perceives reality differently. Each has their own unique connection to existence. Together, we create something the Unmaker can't comprehend. Infinite diversity in infinite combinations. The Unity Defense moved with perfect coordination, millions of years of subtle guidance culminating in this moment. Where void tides threatened to erase worlds, crystalline ships created fields of pure order. Where the Unmaker's influence began to corrupt space itself, bioluminescent beings channeled living light into the darkness. But it wasn't enough. The Unmaker was ancient beyond measure, patient beyond time. It had waited billions of years for this moment, and it would not be denied easily. Multiple breaches detected, Kex reported, his patterns flashing with alarm. The void tides are adapting to our defenses. They're learning. Elena's expression hardened. Then we show them what we've learned in 12 million years of preparation. She activated a sequence that had been waiting since humanity first discovered the threat. Initiate the convergence protocol. Across the galaxy, human installations began to pulse with impossible energy. The younger species watched in awe as reality itself seemed to shift, responding to patterns humanity had spent millions of years weaving into the very fabric of space-time. What you're seeing, Elena explained as space itself began to transform, is why we hid our true nature for so long. We didn't just prepare technologies or strategies. We prepared reality itself. The Unmaker recoiled as it encountered something new, a universe that could fight back. Every species' unique perspective, every civilization's particular way of perceiving and interacting with reality, became part of a greater whole. Together, Elena said, her voice carrying the weight of millions of years of preparation, we are more than just allies. We are the universe becoming conscious of itself, reality rising to defend its own existence. The battle was far from over. The Unmaker was ancient and patient, and the void tides were still threatening countless worlds. But for the first time since humanity discovered the threat 12 million years ago, there was real hope. The galaxy's species fought not just as allies, but as something more, a unified force of creation standing against the tide of entropy itself. And in that unity, they found strength even the Unmaker hadn't anticipated. Reality itself was changing, evolving, becoming something new. The true war was just beginning, but its first major battle had revealed something crucial. Together, they were far more than the sum of their parts. They were existence itself, rising to defend its right to be. Beyond the void, the Unmaker's assault had been devastating, but it had also revealed something unprecedented. As the Unity defense regrouped in the aftermath of the first major battle, they discovered that their combined resistance had done more than just hold back the darkness. It had fundamentally changed the nature of space-time itself. The readings are unlike anything we've ever seen, Elena announced in the transformed command center. Where our forces united to resist the void tides, reality has become more resilient. It's as if the universe itself is learning from our defense. Commander Zara studied the displays with all three of her brains engaged. Where once there had been normal space, new patterns were emerging. Complex webs of energy that connected different species vessels and installations in ways that defied conventional physics. It's beautiful, Kex whispered, his bioluminescence synchronizing unconsciously with the new phenomena. The barriers between our different ways of perceiving reality, they're dissolving. First Speaker Ven's crystalline form resonated with the same frequencies. Not dissolving, he corrected. Evolving. We're not just defending reality. We're helping it transcend its original limitations. Elena nodded, a deep understanding in her eyes. This is what we hoped for, what we spent millions of years preparing for. Though we never dared to be certain it would work. The universe isn't just a backdrop for life. It's alive itself, in ways we're only beginning to understand. New alerts flashed across the displays. The Unmaker was regrouping, gathering its forces for another assault. But now they could see it clearly for what it was, not just a force of destruction, but a remnant of an older universe, one that feared the emergence of the new. It makes sense now, Elena said softly, why it fights so hard to unmake everything. It's not just entropy or destruction. It's the past refusing to yield to the future. And we, all of us together, represent that future. The Unity defense prepared for the next phase of battle, but this time with new understanding. Their ships no longer just fought alongside each other. They began to merge, combining different species' technologies and perspectives in ways that would have been impossible hours earlier. Crystalline vessels phased into harmony with human lightweaver ships. Bioluminescent beings channeled their living light through structures of pure thought. Reality itself seemed to pulse with new possibility. This was always humanity's true mission, Elena revealed as they watched the transformation unfold. Not to rule or guide, but to preserve the galaxy's diversity until this moment, when all of us together could help existence itself take its next step forward. The Unmaker's next attack was imminent, but now they faced it not just with weapons or shields, but with the power of evolution itself. The universe was changing, becoming something new, something that even the ancient force of entropy couldn't comprehend. The true endgame was approaching. One way or another, existence itself would be forever changed by what happened next. A new dawn. The final confrontation with the Unmaker shook the foundations of reality itself. The combined forces of the Unity Defense faced their ancient enemy not as separate species, but as a single expression of existence's will to evolve and grow. Elena stood at the heart of Luna Command, watching as the impossible unfolded across millions of light years. The Unmaker had gathered its full strength, a darkness vast enough to swallow galaxies. But this time, light answered darkness with equal force. All Unity vessels, execute final convergence, Elena commanded, her voice carried across dimensions by technologies that blended all species' understanding of reality. Remember what we are, not just allies, but existence itself, choosing to be. Commander Zara's crystalline ships merged with human Lightweaver vessels, creating structures that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Kex's bioluminescent fleets channeled pure life force through the fabric of space-time, while First Speaker Ven's collective consciousness provided the patterns that bound everything together. The Unmaker struck with the force of 1 billion dying stars, its void tides threatening to erase everything in their path. But where darkness sought to unmake, the Unity Defense created anew. Every erased point in space was rewritten, every destroyed pattern restored in more complex forms. "It's working," Kex announced, his patterns flashing with fierce joy. "The universe itself is fighting back." He was right. Everywhere the Unmaker touched, reality responded with new forms of existence that even humanity had never imagined. The younger species weren't just helping to defend the universe, they were helping it evolve beyond what any single species could have achieved alone. The Unmaker recoiled, confronting something it had never encountered in all its ancient existence, a universe that refused to be unmade, that answered entropy with evolution, destruction with creation. Now, Elena commanded, initiating the sequence humanity had spent millions of years preparing. Complete the convergence. All across the galaxy, the hidden patterns humanity had woven into reality activated at once. Every species' unique connection to existence, every different way of perceiving and interacting with reality, came together in a single moment of perfect unity. The Unmaker, that ancient force of entropy and denial, found itself opposed not by weapons or shields, but by the very thing it had sought to prevent. The universe achieving true consciousness through the combined perspectives of all its living children. In that moment of convergence, everyone understood. Humanity hadn't hidden their true nature out of fear or strategy alone, but to preserve the galaxy's infinite diversity until this moment, when all of existence could take its next great step forward together. The Unmaker wasn't destroyed. Entropy could never be completely defeated. But it was changed, transformed by contact with a reality that had grown beyond its power to unmake. The void tides receded, becoming part of the natural cycle of cosmic renewal rather than tools of absolute destruction. As the light of a new dawn spread across the galaxy, Elena smiled at the assembled representatives of a unified cosmos. "This was never about winning a war," she said softly. "It was about helping the universe itself achieve something new. And this is only the beginning." The age of secrets was over. The age of separation had ended. Together, all species now faced a future where the only limit was their combined imagination, and the universe itself was alive with possibility. It wasn't an ending, but a beginning. The first moment of a new kind of existence, where unity didn't mean uniformity, and diversity was the source of ultimate strength. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, welcoming the dawn of a new age.